Byte of Truth. Dirty data, clean truth. Journalism's hidden struggle.
You ever open a spreadsheet and feel like you've just unearthed an ancient curse? Symbols where numbers should be, columns named ODCNLYTT, and enough blank cells to make a Zen monk weep. Welcome to the glamorous world of data preparation. But here's the twist. It's not just data scientists battling this spreadsheet hellscape. Journalists are in the trenches too, and trust me, their stories are even messier. I'm Sébastien, and this is Byte of Truth, the podcast where tech, society, and software intersect. Today's Byte: dirty data. Not the kind that crashes your app, but the kind that can crash public trust. We're diving into the world of data journalism and exploring how reporters, yes, reporters, do battle with messy, inconsistent, and sometimes outright spiteful data. We'll unpack a recent study by Stephen Kasika, Charles Barret, and Tamara Munzner that compared data preparation in data science and journalism. Spoiler: the workflows are similar, but the stakes and constraints are wildly different. So, grab your Freedom of Information Act request and your PDF scraper. Let's dig in.
Setting the stage. What's dirty data anyway?
Dirty data? It's not just a quirky term. It refers to the frustratingly common reality of data being incomplete, inconsistent, or just plain wrong. In data science, dealing with dirty data is expected. Up to 80% of a project's time is spent cleaning and prepping it. But what about journalists? They don't just clean data, they wrestle with it, question it, and try to make it readable and trustworthy for the public. The paper argues that journalists and data scientists face similar problems: missing values, inconsistent formats, semantic confusion. But journalists often have to deal with added challenges, like uncooperative data sources and public accountability. You know, little things.
The journalism struggle is real.
Imagine asking a government agency for data, and months later they mail you a scanned PDF of a spreadsheet, printed sideways. That's reality for many data journalists. Unlike data scientists, who might have access to databases and documentation, journalists often rely on public records, and those come with baggage. We're talking data fragmentation, weird regional variations, and semantic mysteries like figuring out what ODCNLYTT actually means. One of my favorite quotes from the study: a journalist explained that even before they can tell a story, they need to understand the data. And sometimes they have to gamble weeks of work without knowing if the story is even there. Can you imagine pitching that to your editor?
A new taxonomy for dirty data.
Here's where the study gets really cool. It introduces a fresh framework to describe dirty data issues. It's not just this cell is blank. It's about discrepancies between what the data says and what the journalist expects. They map problems across two axes: the type of data object, like tables, attributes, values, and the quality issue, like completeness, semantics, or form. This model helps explain why integrating datasets, say COVID-19 stats from multiple provinces, becomes a nightmare. Different names, different formats, sometimes even different definitions of what counts as a case. It's like trying to assemble IKEA furniture, but each part comes from a different country's manual. And also, half the screws are missing.
Integration nightmares and data monsters.
The researchers dug deep into journalists' worst stories. Literally, they called them nightmares. These were cases where journalists had to combine data sets that just did not want to be friends. They identified 4 common monsters in the data dungeon. 1. Regional. Data collected by different provinces, each using their own funky format. 2. Diachronic. Datasets that change over time, like column names mutate mysteriously from one year to the next. 3. Fragmented, related info scattered across several different tables. 4. Disparate, totally unrelated datasets that need to be linked by detective work, like connecting company names across layoffs and government loans. And here's the kicker: journalists don't get to fudge anything. No fabricating missing values. No estimating. If it's not documented, it's not publishable.
Why it all matters.
So why should we care? Because clean data leads to clear stories. And in a world flooded with misinformation, we need journalists to uncover the truth with rigor. And that starts with cleaning up the digital junkyard of data. This research doesn't just shed light on technical pain points. It's a call to action for toolmakers, educators, and even policymakers to support the unsung labor of data preparation in journalism. Data isn't neutral. It's made by people, for people, and it's often broken because of people. Understanding that gap between the model and the mental model is the first step to bridging it. Alright, that's today's Byte. Next time you see a data-rich investigation from your favorite news outlet, like one that maps police use of force or breaks down campaign finance, just remember, before they wrote the first word, someone probably wrestled with 1,000 broken spreadsheets. If you enjoyed today's episode, hit that subscribe button, leave a rating, and maybe share it with your favorite journalist or data scientist. They'll feel seen. And if you want to dive into the full study, check out the show notes. We've got links to the paper and some of the tools journalists use every day. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and clean your data before it bites you back.